All right, welcome to The Explainer. Now, what if I told you that every single business out there, I'm talking the local coffee shop all the way up to a massive global corporation, they all operate on one single, unbreakable rule? Well, that's exactly what we're going to dig into today.
So let's just jump right in. Think about this for a second. How do you tell the entire story of a company, its health, its history, its potential, using only numbers? It sounds kind of impossible, doesn't it? I mean, how can a bunch of numbers on a page actually tell a compelling story?
Well, believe it or not, the answer is surprisingly simple and kind of elegant, actually. It all comes down to one basic, perfectly balanced rule that's the foundation for, well, everything in the world of business. And that rule, it's called the accounting equation. Now, I know, accounting equation might sound a little dry, but trust me, this thing is the absolute bedrock of all finance. By the time we're done here, you're going to see how this simple idea controls literally every single move a business makes. Okay, so here it is, in all its glory. Assets equals liabilities plus equity. That's the whole thing. And it's really just a fundamental truth. It says that all the stuff a company owns, that's its assets, had to come from somewhere, right? It had to be paid for. And there are only two ways to do that, either with money you borrowed, your liabilities, or with money the owners put in themselves, and that's the equity. You know, the easiest way to picture this is to think of a classic balance scale. On one side of the scale, you pile up all the stuff the business owns, all of its assets. And on the other side, you have everybody who has a claim to that stuff. The lenders, the owners, everyone. And here's the key. Those two sides have to be perfectly balanced, always, no exceptions. Okay, theory's great, but let's actually see this thing in action. We're going to build a company, right here, right now, from the ground up. So what's the very first thing any new business needs? It needs things to work with, right? The tools of the trade. And in accounting speak, that's its assets. So what are assets really? They're just all the resources a business has that are going to help it make money down the road. It's the cash in the bank, the computers, the products on the shelf. If you want a super simple way to remember it, just think assets are what you own.
All right, so for our little startup we're building, what do our assets look like? Let's see. We've got some cash sitting in a business bank account. We've got a brand new, powerful laptop to get work done. We've got a desk, a decent chair, and of course, a whole bunch of inventory that we're hoping to sell. All of that stuff, those are our assets.
Okay, let's put a number on it to get this story rolling. Let's say we add it all up. The cash, the computer, the inventory, everything. And the total value comes out to a nice, round 100 million pesos. So, boom. That's the left side of our balance scale, all loaded up.
Great. We've got 100 million pesos worth of stuff. But, and this is the big question, right? Where on earth did that 100 million come from? It didn't just appear out of thin air. How did we pay for all this? Well, to answer that, we have to look at the other side of our scale, liabilities and equity.
Let's start with liabilities. You can just think of these as the company's debts, its IOUs. It's all the money you owe to other people. Could be a big bank loan, could be money you owe to your suppliers. Basically, it's the portion of your assets that somebody else, an outsider, has a claim on. It's what you owe. So back to our startup. Let's say that to get things going, we walked into a bank and took out a business loan. And that loan was for 40 million pesos. So right there, we know that 40 million of our 100 million in assets came from borrowed money. It's funded by debt. Okay, so simple math, right? If 40 million came from the bank, where did the other 60 million come from? Well, that is equity. Equity is the owner's piece of the pie. It's their stake in the company. You can also think of it as what would be left over for the owners if you sold off all the assets and paid back all the debts. It's what the owners have put in. And this is where you really see the magic of that little equation. We have 100 million in assets. We know 40 million of that is liabilities. So the equation basically forces the answer on us. The rest has to be 60 million. That's our equity. That's the money the founders put in. And just look at it. 100 million on one side equals 40 million plus 60 million on the other. Our scale is perfectly, beautifully balanced. So there we have it. Our business is all set up. But right now, it's just a snapshot in time, isn't it? It's completely static. A real business has to actually do stuff to stay alive. So let's flip the switch, put this thing in motion, and see what happens to our perfect balance when we actually start to make some money. All right, doors are open. We're officially in business. We start selling all that inventory and the cash starts rolling in. That's what we call revenue. But of course, it's not all fun and games. We've got bills to pay, rent, salaries, utilities, you name it. And those are our expenses.
Okay, let's say we have a fantastic first month. We sell a ton of product and bring in 10 million pesos in revenue. That's awesome. Now, to make that happen, it cost us 7 million pesos in expenses. Paying our people, keeping the lights on. So 10 million in, 7 million out, that leaves us with a net profit of a very nice 3 million pesos. Not a bad start at all.
But wait a minute. Here's the 3 million peso question. Where does that profit actually go? It can't just evaporate. It has to fit back into our balanced equation somewhere. So how does this new story of profit and loss connect back to our original picture of the company?
Right, so that 3 million pesos in profit, it doesn't just disappear into some black hole. It has to go somewhere on the books. And think about it. Who earned that profit? The business did. And who owns the business? The owners. So that profit rightfully belongs to them.
And that is the connection. It's the key. That profit, it flows directly into the equity side of our equation. Why? Because since the business made that money, the owner's personal stake in the company just got bigger. It's a simple rule. Profit increases equity. That's it.
All right, so let's check in on our balance sheet and see how things look now. Our equity went up by that 3 million in profit from 60 to 63 million. That makes sense. But look at the rest. Our assets also grew from 100 million to 106 million. And our liabilities went up too, from 40 to 43 million. So what happened here? Well, that 3 million in profit increased our equity. And let's say some of our expenses were paid on credit, which adds 3 million to what we owe, our liabilities. That means our total claims on the right side went up by 6 million total. And wouldn't you know it, our cash and other assets on the left side also went up by a net of 6 million from all that business activity. And what's the final result? 106 million on the left, and on the right, 43 million in liabilities plus 63 million in equity, which is 106 million. It still balances perfectly.
And that right there, that is the single rule in action. Everything we did, every sale we made, every bill we paid, it all made the numbers dance and change. But did the scale ever tip? No. The fundamental balance held true. It's like the law of gravity for business. It never, ever breaks.
So from now on, whenever you look at a company's financial report, I want you to try something. Don't just see a spreadsheet full of boring numbers. Instead, picture that scale. Picture the assets on one side and all the claims against them on the other. See the story of where the money came from and where it went. And then ask yourself, what story is this balance sheet really telling me?